Number of years ago, I was absolutely fascinated with some computer engines after I retired from tournament chess, and I was studying computer programs. But soon I got disappointed with their inability of positional play, maneuvering, and they were making some positional errors. And all the programs like Fritz, Hierarchs, Junior, and they were making same types of mistakes, and they had big difficulties to improve their positional skills. So I stayed away from computer chess until not too long ago, less than a year ago maybe, I heard there is a new program called Rybka. I never paid close attention to it because what's the difference? Rybka, Fritz, Hierarchs, and they're all the same, about on the same level. But then I heard from a number of people, oh, the Rybka is much better than some other programs. But I heard this so many times. This Fritz is much better than Junior, Junior is better than Hierarchs, then Fritz is better than and all this didn't mean much to me, because when I was comparing, I hardly saw any difference between them. They are all think alike. But then I heard that Rybka played some matches. There was money involved. Money was on the stake against a couple of pretty strong grandmasters, Joel Benjamin and Jan Elvest. And the fascinating part in this match that they were all four of them, they both played 2 matches each, and all 4 matches were with a big handicap. That was about a year ago, or maybe longer a little, when it started, and there was handicap of Rybka would give pawn odds, or Rybka will give draw odds and white pieces, first move and draw odds. And every one of these 4 matches, Rybka won very, very convincingly with several points of advantage. And it was not blitz, it was slower games, and I found it very hard to believe. And I looked at the games and I saw very strong positional and obviously tactical play, and I was very fascinated, really. And I had a reputation of fairly good player against computers, because when I played on the internet chess, and I was offered to play training match against Rybka. Well, it was much improved Rybka almost after a year from last match, and it wasn't a 2-core processor, it was 4-core processor. So it was a lot improved version, and organizers of the match, they went as far as offering me conditions to give me like pawn odds and move odds. That means I would play white, and I have from A to H every pawn, sort of first game A pawn, second game B pawn, and so on. I would never accepted those conditions against anyone in the world, because I don't think anyone on this planet can give any average grandmaster, and I consider myself at least an average grandmaster, pawn and move. But well, I know it wouldn't be very humiliating even if I lose to Rybka, because she already had certain reputation, and I decided to play. Now, the match ended with totally unbelievable score, 4-4, and the reason it happened, I got incredibly lucky, and I have to, I mean, it's a sheer coincidence. It's absolutely that it happened. Rybka got, I was extremely lucky. And I want to show you just a couple of games from this match, couple of games that clearly indicating strength and powerful play of Rybka. And it's interesting that one of the two games I want to show you, I won one and I drew one, but there is a very good reason to show you these two games. There is a very good reason for it. And the first game I will show you why I drew the match. It was a draw. I got extremely lucky, and I got lucky more than once. That's why the score was 4-4. And the second game, I have a very good reason for it, very good reason for showing it to you. So the first game, e4, the Rybka plays without the f pawn. So the first game, e4, e6, d4, d5. Well, obviously my strategy in this match was to play very simple positions. Against anyone in the world, under any circumstances, I would have played e5 here, and this is very strong position for white, but I played e takes d, and queen h5 check. This by force exchanges queens. I knew all this, most of this Rybka strengths, but I didn't know how can this program create play when you don't see it, slowly how it can take initiative. No other program I saw doing it nearly as well. After queen h5 check, g6, queen e5, attacking h8 rook, queen e7 is forced, queen takes e7, knight takes e7, bishop f4, knight f5 attacking d4 pawn, knight f3, and bishop g7, c3. Of course, my strategy is just to keep position as simple as possible. c3, knight d6. Now knight d6, I don't want to take on d6 because black controls every square in the center. So after knight d6, I played bishop e5. I want to exchange dark square bishops, castle, bishop takes g7, king takes g7. We got, well, here I am. I got an extra pawn, queens off the board, and I'm very happy. I played bishop d3 here, and Rybka played the move here that I did expect, but I didn't think it would do anything. Bishop h3, and I went knight h4. Bishop h3 does not really create any big threats. Eventually bishop has to go back. So now rook e8 check, king f1, bishop e6, knight d2, knight d7, and here I realized that I'm having certain problems. The problems I'm having here is with concluding my kingside development. how to bring rook into the game, what to do with my king. I went knight h2 f3, and here Rybka played c5. Here black has to open position. That's obvious. They have to create counterplay before white clears what they do with the king on f1. After c5, rook e1, knight c4, and I see from very simple position I started having a problem. Bishop takes c4, d takes c, knight g5. Black goes bishop g8, and I'm making here desperate attempt to bring my king into the game, to open my rook, to go f3, king f2, and my rook will be free. Obviously I don't want to take on c5, because after knight takes c5, knight will come to d3. And very logical move by me, f3. Rook takes e1, king takes e1, c takes d, c takes d, and here is very powerful move by black that I overlooked, rook d8, which wins the d4 pawn. But I realized already that I'm not going to keep an extra pawn. I want to safely finish development and make a draw. Here I'm playing for a draw only. King e2, knight f6, knight ge4, rook takes d4, knight takes f6, and king takes f6. Now, evaluating this position, black is a little better because there are pawns on both sides of the board, and bishop in this case is a little better than knight. But keep in mind that there's still a lot of pawns on the board. Knight is a good piece here as well. So I went rook c5, b5, I went b3, and here king e5. I played b takes c, bishop takes c4, and I didn't think Rybka would go for this pawn ending, but knight takes c4, and here rook takes c4, forcing pawn ending. White must take the rook. Now, if white plays rook b1, I didn't want to make this move because rook c2 check, and I have to go king f1, and now black can simply go a6, and white has passive rook, passive king, and in the rook endings it may be critical, decisive. So I didn't do that. So in this position I'm forced to take. Rybka took back, and this position was evaluated by Rybka as a win. That's what I found out from the operator of the Rybka and the programmer, Rybka programmer, and my good friend, strong chess player, international master Larry Kaufman. And Rybka thought that was winning. And that's why I am showing you this game. I will show you, this is not a win, this is a draw, but Rybka saw as far as a winning a pawn in king and pawn ending, having pass pawn, which in 99% of the cases is easy win. But what happened here, when you have 5 pieces or less left on the board of total, every position is known to theory. Every position, there are millions of positions, whether they're queens on the board or rooks or knights, if total number of pieces is 5, there are table bases and everything is known that you don't have to be figuring out. Those table bases program was not input on that machine, on Rybka's program, and that's why Rybka did win a pawn the way she anticipated, but it turned out that position was a draw. Now, do I take credit for making draw that way? No. I was going with the flow, and every move I made was absolutely forced, and I never had choices. I got extremely lucky that game was drawn. I got lucky like this couple of more times in the match. That's why match was drawn. Well, let's see what happened in this position. King e3, g5. Everything was seen by Rybka. g5, I went g3, and everything is absolutely forced. h5, a4. a6 and a5, and black plays h4. G takes h, g takes h. I have no choice. I have to go f4 here. I cannot let king on f4, and I cannot go h3 because after c3 and king f4 black wins. I have to go f4 check, king f5, king d4. That's the position that was seen by Rybka. King takes f4. No, actually Rybka played c3 here, but king takes f4 is the same. Here Rybka already saw that game is a draw, and it's nothing can be done here. c3, king takes c3, king takes f4, king d4, king g4, king e3, king h3, and king f3. And after king takes pawn, king f2. You see, there is no way black can win. Black went king h3, king f3. If black wants to get out with the king, then h3. We go king f1, king g1, and king g3 and king g1. This is theoretical draw. When Rybka saw it, it was too late, because she didn't have to analyze that position if she had table bases put in the program. But now nothing can be done, and it's a draw. King f3, king h2, and there is a critical square c1 for white's king that white makes there on time. King g3, king c4, king f3, king b5, king e3, king takes a5, king d2, king b4, king c1 with an easy draw. I got extremely lucky to draw this position. Now, this is one reason. I got lucky like this, as I already mentioned, at least 2-3 more times. That's why I drew the match. This next game I want to show you with Rybka, and that's the game I won, and there is a very good reason why I want to show you this game. Before I show the game, I want to explain one significant thing about playing with a pawn down. Unless it's a rook's pawn, either h pawn or a pawn, any other pawn on the board is extremely valuable. Now, the reason is not because one side is up a pawn and they're gonna exchange all pieces and they're gonna promote this pawn and make a queen and they're gonna win the game. No, the pawn, when somebody has extra pawn, before the game starts, and it's not a rook pawn. It's a huge advantage. The reason why, not just an extra pawn, it's your opponent is deprived to a lot of positional ideas. They have to play irregular chess. They cannot play normal general strategy, because any pawn on the board from B to G is absence of any pawn creates significant weaknesses in black's position and creates inability of playing certain positional ideas and that's exactly what happened in this game. In this case, I have an extra G pawn, and what happened, it's again very simple. Knight d4, knight f6. I tried to play very simple chess. Knight f3, d6, bishop g5, knight bd7, knight bd2, h6, bishop h4. See what I'm saying, what I said, that extra pawn is more than a pawn up. It's also inability of playing certain normal moves. Black cannot go and play normally like King's Indian, bishop g7 and castle, because king side is very weak. So now black has to play very unusual chess and c6 and positionally weak. This is positionally weak because there is no positionally strong ideas here. G pawn is a very, very big deficit. So after c6 I went e4, bishop g7, c3, knight h5, bishop c4, b5 and bishop b3, a5. I simply castle, a4, bishop c2 and a3. So I went b4, and position on queen side is closed. Now but black has to do something about their king. After b4, knight f4 was played, rook e1. I continue general development, knight f8. You see, if you saw how Rybka plays, you would never see her playing these moves in the normal chess game. If there was a pawn on g6, it will never have happened. So you would have seen castle then. But here castling is out of question, so move like knight f8 has to be played. e5, and you see black cannot afford the opening of e-file, because if I take, there is e7 liability, and if black takes, it's almost the same, e-file open. So d5 move is forced. But after d5, white gets very strong square on c5. White has king side advantage, and black has problems playing with the king. This position happened without Rybka making any mistakes at all. I think I just played better than than other games, so I got winning position right after the opening without much effort. So, but Rybka's strength is in normal positions, not when you start and she's totally lost. That's not her strength. So now after d5, bishop g3 and knight h5, I went knight h4, knight takes g3, f takes g, and this position I would say is hopeless. F takes g, because now white has very strong bishop. square on f5 and f-file. And sooner or later black must go e6, and in this position black did go e6, and Rybka was criticized for making these moves absolutely unjustly, because of course black does not go e6, does not have to go e6 on this move, and of course e6 is bad news for black, but there is no way to stay away from this move. There is no way, because white is gonna go rook f1 on queen h5, put pressure on f7 pawn. So also there is knight f5 maybe coming, so e6 was played, queen h5, queen g5, and queen e2, h5, knight hf3, queen g4, and knight is heading to the weak square on c5, rook a7, knight c5. White is totally lost, and in this type of position you see that there is nothing black can do. They have several dead pieces, such as bishop on c8, rook on a7, bishop on g7 is not that great, and it's unclear what rook on h8 doing. So on knight c5, knight d7, knight takes d7, king takes d7, rook f1, bishop h6, at least black activated its bishop, rook f2, it's bringing my last rook to the last piece into the game, king c7, and now knight e1. Now obviously after knight e1 I'm attacking f7 pawn, I'm trying to exchange queens, and also knight is going to c5. It's very strong move. King b8, knight d3, and now queen g7, rook a2 f1, rook c7, knight f4, bishop g5, and knight takes h5. This is very powerful move, very strong move. It's exchange sacrifice and absolutely nails down the game. Queen h6, the reason why it's exchange sacrifice because knight is hanging and we cannot go back because queen takes h2. So I play g4, bishop e3, h3, bishop takes f2, queen takes f2, king b7, queen f4. White wants to exchange queens, which will be absolutely winning for white. Black played queen f8, but queens were exchanged anyway in a few moves. Knight f6, king knight f6, king b6, g5, queen g7, rook f3, bishop b7, h4. White just rolls down its pawns. Two pieces are totally out of the game. h4, queen f8, h5, king a7, h6, bishop a8. Actually, there is no even need to looking at it any farther than that, but I'll just show you. h7, rook b7, queen h4, rook c7, queen h6, queen takes h6, gh, king b6, rook g3, rook c8, actually rook g3, bishop b7, rook g8, rook c8, and g4. This is hopelessly lost. Now king is coming all the way to f4, g5, g6, and king is coming to g5. Actually, that's exactly what happened, and I won in a very few moves. Now let's get to the reason why I showed this game. I showed this game because this was a totally lost position, and in the way Rybka lost this game was very, very thematic and very educating for Rybka. What happened after this match? After this match, I decided that I want to get involved with Rybka, so try to make it, better, and in any way I can. I was so fascinated to help this program to get better. So, and I was told by my friend Larry Kaufman, as I mentioned, he was programmer of Rybka, that there is a freestyle championship is coming up, and what about playing in that tournament with Rybka? I said, well, why not? Freestyle chess is when human and computer combine, come up with the moves. You can use one computer program, 2 or 10 on any engine. So on the 4-core processor, 8-core processors, and I decided that I want to play.
Master Damian Lemos here for onlinechesslessons.net. First of all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to receive more free chess videos from us, you can just click the subscribe button below. I would also highly recommend signing up for my free mail course, the 10 Grandmaster Secrets to Dominate Chess. During this exclusive course from onlinechesslessons.net, I'll share with you my own Grandmaster shortcuts to effective attacking, defending, and growth hacks to improving your chess without complicated books or memorization. So sign up by clicking the sidebar on the right, and I know you won't be disappointed. Once more, this is Damian for onlinechesslessons.net, and I'll see you in my videos. Thank you.